Hey crafty friends, this is Chelsea. Today I want to show you my completed Week in the Life project for 2023. This is only my second time doing this project. I actually have a video on my channel from earlier this year. I'll link it down in the description for you because I did a totally different style. I really like the idea of keeping this project in my 12x12 albums along with all my other layouts. So I've been looking for ways to do that in a different way or an easier way. So you'll see if you watch that other video, it was very interactive, lots of different sized pages, flip-flaps, all those kinds of things. And it took me quite a while to make my Week in the Life that way. If you're not familiar with Week in the Life, it's a project by Ali Edwards, basically documenting a whole week. And I really love Week in the Life, Day in the Life, December Daily. All three of those projects are her projects. And the reason why I love them is I'm capturing little things that I probably wouldn't end up turning into a 12x12 scrapbook page, right? Like just a standard scrapbook page. First thought is like events and things like that, exciting things happening. Well, I love how these kind of projects make you think about all the little moments in a day and actually some little things that I'm going to love to look back on when my daughter is older and life is different. So I do have a stack of layouts here to show you, but before I get to that, I wanted to share a little bit of the planning process with you and how I kind of came up with this idea and kind of the planning behind it before I jump into the actual finished pages. So I like to do a lot of my sketching in these graph notebooks. I used to use lined ones all the time, and then I'm like, I'm always sketching layouts, cards, things like that. Why don't I use graph paper? So I use these to do a lot of my planning. So when I was thinking about how can I do Week in the Life even like faster and easier, but still in a 12x12 format, my thought was, well, pocket pages are usually faster, but I love close to my heart page protectors. They are super thick and sturdy, but there's not a ton of different configurations of pocket pages. When you use a pocket page, then you're limited to what is on the back side, right? So your front side has to match your back side. So I thought, what if I actually do them on 12x12 white cardstock and just trim down my pieces so they look like pocket pages. So technically like a faux pocket page. What gave me the idea is I was actually flipping through some of my older albums. I have one from 2013 where I had done this. Not for a Week in the Life, but just a couple of layouts on some random topic where I had used this style. And I was like, I should do that again. And that way I can keep the simplicity of a pocket page where it's mostly about the photos, a little bit of embellishing and more journaling. And I don't need to come up with like really intricate designs. So what I did first was I made some notes on kind of things that Ali talks about. I had looked at getting like her Week in the Life cards and embellishments and stuff, but the colors didn't really speak to me. I really wanted vibrant colors for this project. So I knew I didn't want that, but I made notes on what are some of the things that I would want to document. And then I put all of those into like a Word document on my computer, and I kept notes every single day during the week, filling in the blanks of what were we watching, eating, feeling, thinking, all those kinds of things, so that when I go back to do the project, I actually have all the information. It's right on my computer and easy to access. And then I just started sketching. So I made myself little boxes that are 6x6 squares on here, and then each square counts for 2 inches. And then I just started sketching out different configuration ideas with the measurements of 3x4, 4x6, 4x4s, 3x3s. And then I just kind of kept going. And I got on a roll. I did a whole page of these different designs. And I wanted to work in some different sizes. So I'm like, what if I have 6x6 or 6x8? An 8x8, a 6x12. So I played with some different sizes, and there's still lots of these that I didn't end up using, but that was kind of my first step. Then once I had documented the week and I had, those sketches of page designs that I could use, then I went along and I picked page designs for each of the days and made a list of the pictures that I wanted to use. I didn't end up fitting in all of the pictures because that's a lot, but basically I just write down Friday, here's a list of pictures. Saturday, apparently I got lazy. But like here's Wednesday, and I have my designs out here. I knew I wanted to do a 6x8 on this page, and then I just kind of jotted down notes on what pictures I wanted to use. So then once I had that information, I wanted to pick a collection. If you're doing any kind of project like this, I think the easiest thing to do is to pick one collection, stick with that collection, everything coordinates. Or if you're using Allie's kits, right, everything coordinates within that kit. So this is a retired one from close to my heart. It's called Blue Skies. I picked it because of the beautiful, vibrant colors. I figured this would go with a lot of my daughter's, the colors of her toys and her clothes and things like that. And it's fun and whimsical. It has these hot air balloons. It has florals. So I figured it would go really well with this kind of project. Just everyday life, there's a good rainbow of colors. And I did pull in a couple of stamp sets. This one is all day, every day. So a lot of the heart this place, playing, loving, eating, watching, enjoying, in the moment, 24/7. So really good for documenting this kind of project. And then this set is called Beautiful Day. And this one is actually in the clearance stamp sale that's going on now until the end of August. So if you're seeing this kind of in real time, when I'm filming this is still in the sales section, and I believe it's more than 50% off. It's like 50 or 60% off with the thin cuts as well, with the coordinating thin cuts. And I've used this for several projects. It's just really good for a neutral documenting your life kind of topic. I love the hot air balloon. There's sun and clouds and all the flowers and different greenery and things. This banner, I've used that one several times, the Beautiful Day. So a super useful set. And of course it's me, I had to bring in some stamps. And then I wanted some really low dimension embellishments. I was trying to keep these pages super thin. I didn't want a ton of dimension because then I figured they're going to take up too much room in my album. I'm already adding a lot into my yearly album. So I wanted things that were flat, and these are the dots from Close to My Heart, and they come in a bunch of different colors. And of course they coordinate with the Close to My Heart colors, so super useful. I ended up using quite a bit of those. There's dots, hearts, and stars, and there's 3 different sizes of each and 3 different tones of each color. So super useful. And then I had some of these Tim Holtz Ideology Chit Chat stickers. And I love having little words and phrases that I can add in. I also like using these like when I'm art journaling or things like that. And I did end up using a few of these in my project. All right, so let's get to what you came to see, which is the actual flip through of my project. When it came to putting this together, I did it in batches. So I sat down and I sized, printed, and edited and printed all of my photos at one time. Then I sat down and I did all the journaling. And really what I ended up doing, I thought I was going to handwrite more journaling, but I had documented everything in a Word document on my computer. So it was easier just to copy and paste it into some journaling cards that I made in Canva and then just print it out. And actually that worked really well. So all of these are actually ones I designed in Canva, and then I just printed them out, cut them down to size, and that worked really well. You can see I have some of the stamps over here, some of those little word stickers. And then for my title, Week in the Life with the dates, I actually did a print and cut through Cricut Design Space. I printed, cut it out, and then just stuck it down here. I thought about adding another layer because just the white really blended into the background, but I ended up just using a blue marker and outlining it. And really that was just because I had deleted my original file, which you should probably never do. I'd already deleted the file, and so I didn't have the exact sizing, and I didn't want to go back through like printing and cutting it again. These are all stamped images from that stamp set that I showed you, and then the little dots. And I love that these dots are super flat. They're not like pearls or something that have a ton of dimension. They're nice and flat and don't add a bunch of bulk. So once I had printed my journaling, then I sat down in one session and glued all the pieces in. I already had my sketches, so I knew where things were going. So when I sat down to stick it all on, basically, I just had to trim everything down a little bit. So I did print these out at 3x4, and now they are just 1/8 of an inch smaller on the side and the top. So that's 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. So you can see here really like day in the life type pictures of like things that we do all the time. And I'll just start flipping through the pages here so you can see, kind of get a better look at. This is a Pocket Plus insert. Close to My Heart actually doesn't carry this one anymore that has the portrait 4x6. There's some of the portrait 3x4 still on the website, but they are discontinued as well. They're one of my favorites. There's 4x6 landscape, both for 3x4s and 4x6s and 4x4s that will be carried forward. But if you like the portrait orientation, only the 3x4s are on the website while supplies last. So here, what I did for this, instead of having, because I didn't have divided ones here, right? These are just 2 4x6 pockets. So what I did was took a piece of white cardstock, cut it to 4x6, and then just adhered these two on it. So you can see there's a little gap in between there. And there's the back side. So I did do a little bit of journaling on some of my photos. I did that in the Project Life app, and some of them didn't print as clearly as they looked in the app, but they still are clear enough to read when it's up close and in person. And it's also a great way to fill up any kind of like empty spots in your photo instead of like trying to zoom in really tight. This was in the spring and things hadn't turned green yet, so we got a lot of brown grass and not that fun of scenery to look at. There's my little Frankie mid-stride. I caught him like mid-run towards me, which is awesome. So this is for Monday, and this one is actually, when it goes in my album, is going to be right in between these two pages. And then it'll flip over, and here is the rest of Monday. So this was my first layout, and I thought I'm going to leave room to like do more journaling. I think this ended up being one of my only like handwritten journaling in the whole thing, but at least my handwriting's in here somewhere, right? I have some more journaling that's like right on the photo. I focused on the photos and the stories. That's really the focus on here. You can see on this whole page, I have one stamped image, one little like paperboard, which is like a thin chipboard embellishment, and then just those little enamel hearts. And any of this black, the paperboard, it's like really thin chipboard. I love this stuff. There's Close to My Heart has several different types of embellishments that come in this paperboard. And this is from a retired set. I think it was from the Little Things collection from earlier in 2023. I had a few pieces left over, and I thought that they went perfectly with this. I also have some hidden journaling. I wanted to talk about potty training, but I didn't want to have like, you know, a real obvious picture in my project. So I just took a picture of her little feet there, and then I have story on this little tag. And how I did that was I just adhered a white piece back here because the tag, it wouldn't have been big enough to fit actually right behind the photo. So I did it on the back of the page, made a little pocket, and then I can just pull that in and out. I use top loading page protectors, so it's easy enough to pull it out of the top. And that way I have the story, but it doesn't have to be front and center. Okay, so here is Tuesday. So the rest of the pages, all I really have for like a title card is what the day looked like. So Tuesday looked like this. And then I have all my ING words: loving, eating, making, listening, watching, reading, prioritizing, and wondering. The thing that I like about making your own cards is you can choose what words you want to use, right? So I have more story here, lots of photos, a little bit of embellishing. This photo had like a huge empty space because I wanted a wide shot of our living room, even squeezed in Frankie down here. And I used one of those paperboard pieces, a couple of those word stickers, and then stamping and the little enamel dots. So you can see it's not anything fabulous, but there's so much going on in the photos. I really wanted them to be the star of the show. And then, of course, some story to tell you like what's going on. So I have some more of the story. This, again, is another one of my cards. All of my journaling cards I did in Canva myself. And then I also coordinated them with the Close to My Heart colors using hex codes, which is one of the perks that comes along with the Creative Design Team membership. One of our instructors, Julie, she makes those for us every time there's new colors. So we always know what the codes are for the Close to My Heart colors so that we can use them for our own like digital creative design space projects and have everything in the correct colors. Because when you're used to having like a very fixed color palette, it's kind of hard to get away from that. So here we start to get into a little bit different sizes. So this is something that I wouldn't have been able to do using like standard pocket pages, right? This is a 6x8 photo, and I was able to work that in with all my other 4x6, 3x4 photos. I love this. I love being able to do some bigger pictures without having to have like inserts or extra pages. I have a Heidi Swap embellishment word down here. These are really old. Really old, like I want to say 2011, 2012, something like that. And they have like a white resist, and so I just put ink over top. I used Flamingo and Canary ink over top. And then up here I have more of those stamped flowers and leaves. This piece here, I ended up backing it with a piece of Flamingo cardstock because you could see little bits of all these different colors showing through, and it was really distracting. You couldn't read it, so I backed it, and then I used foam tape to pop it up, just thin foam tape. And then this one here was actually a card in the Project Life app, one of their free ones. And so what I did was I just printed it out when I was printing all my photos. And then I typed up my journaling and sized the journaling box the right size to fit on here, printed it out separately, and then adhered it on top. So it kind of looks like it was just designed that way, but those are two separate pieces. I did subscribe to Allie's Story Kit, her digital one, for a few months. I stopped, not because I didn't like it, but just because I wasn't using all of my stuff. So I am glad I am getting some use out of it now that I have a new printer. So I printed out all of her little stickers. So they're not actual stickers. They're the digital file of her word or phrase stickers. So I just print them out on white cardstock and then cut them down into strips and use them like stickers, but just by using adhesive. And she had one whole kit on making, and I thought that worked really good for this. Another stamp from that stamp set with a little enamel heart in the middle. More journaling right on the photos. I find when I'm doing projects like Day in the Life or Week in the Life, I tend to take different types of photos. Like I wouldn't normally take a picture of me working like this or a picture like this where there's so much empty space. I did that on purpose when I was taking my photos to leave opportunities to actually put stories right on the photos. I tend to have a ton of things to say when I'm doing these projects and I want to explain every photo. So sometimes I just need that extra space to put the story. And now you may be noticing something at this point, that each day has its own kind of color theme. And I couldn't help myself. I just did it. I just decided, okay, I'm going to have a color theme for each day. And I think it was Shu Wen did this for one of her projects. She's here on YouTube, and she has some awesome, very interactive projects. And she had done this, I want to say it was maybe her December daily, where each day had a color theme. But that kind of idea had stuck in my head since then. I was like, you know what? Let's have a color theme. So I do have to say, some days I did consciously wear colors or dress my daughter in colors that would either match or coordinate. Didn't always work out because, you spill stuff, you got to change in the middle of the day or whatever. But yes, there is a color theme. Yes, I was thinking about our clothing choices that week. I'm guilty. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, I hope you'll give it a like. It really helps out my channel and lets me know what you guys are enjoying, what I should do more of, and I just really appreciate your support. All right, so here is Thursday, And of course, this is my green day. And this was before I was printing photos at home. So I just got a photo printer for home, and I love it. It's the Epson EcoTank 8500, and I'm so happy with how it's printing. But at this point, I was actually printing at London Drugs, which is a Canadian drugstore photo printer. You know, they do all the things, and they have gorgeous photos and really nice photo paper. They have really unique sizes too. So if you don't print at home and you live in Canada, you might want to look into them for printing because their sizes are really cool. They're expensive, but you get really good photos. So they offer 4x10 photos. So I figured out a way to include some 4x10s into my project. So this was not on my sketch, but I just chose, sketches where I could fit like a 4-inch block. And then I just ended up doing like a little 2x4-inch piece of pattern paper down here at the bottom. This day, I didn't actually end up having a ton of journaling. So what I did instead was actually included our daily schedule. So I thought that was fun to have it for at least one of the days. Most days are typically that pattern to the day. So I figured at least on one of the days, I would have the exact schedule with the times and everything. It's a little bit too much, I think, to do that every day for week in the life. That's more like a day in the life thing for me anyways. And then this word wander here, this was from the Wander Story Kit by Ali. And like I said, I have the digital one. So I just brought the PNG or SVG, I'm not sure which one, into Cricut Design Space and then cut it out on black cardstock. So you can see that there. And then these are more of those strips from her digital collection. And just photos. I love this photo. I caught her like mid-air. It looks like she's like a professional basketball player or something. It's so much fun. I love being able to capture some unique pictures because I'm just more focused when I do a project like this. I am focused on getting all kinds of pictures. And of course, I took way more pictures than what I ended up using in this project because I like to have options. And some things you might want to show more on one day or the other day. Some days you have less photos, which you're going to see here really soon. Now, another thing that I really like about faux pocket pages over regular pocket pages is I can overlap my embellishments onto like crossing over where the pocket would be. So you can see here how I have the florals kind of spilling out onto my photo. I love how this ties everything together and makes it flow a little bit more, kind of breaks up the contrast of this really strong grid. This little strip here is actually the branding strip from the pattern paper, that fun banner, and then all of these stamps are from that stamp set and the little enamel hearts. But I love that I can kind of spill over and I'm not limited. Like even here, my wander is going off the edges. If this was a pocket and that was the edge of the pocket, I would have had to trim that to get it to fit in there. So just another fun thing that you can do with a faux pocket page. Now, Friday and Saturday, I didn't have as many photos. So what I did was, this is Friday, and this side of this Pocket Plus, this is the 3x4 ones I was telling you that are still on the website but are discontinued. And then the back side of this is Saturday into Saturday. And I think this is where having the color, like the coordinating colors, helps tie it together so you know what is what. Because then when you flip over, you can see all the red, you can see the card that says Saturday. And I feel like that helps you know what's going on and that we switch days and there's that separation there. So like I said, I didn't have as much for this day. So I just included a few things. And then over here, I had stamped, these are from the stamp set, and I had stamped the clouds in Lagoon, the sun in Canary, and then I did the title in Flamingo. And then I went over it with my alcohol markers and I added shading just to give it a different look. So I went right over my stamping and just blended right over it. And I love the look it gave. It almost looks like it was painted. So where it says day, that's the original, what it looks like just stamped. And then you can see with the blending over top what that looks like. So I used foam tape, but I used it very minimally in this project just to keep my pages kind of as slim as possible. Here's my Saturday. I have one of those stamped and colored little hot air balloons down there. Again, sticking with the color theme of the page. And then this is a new stamp. This will be launching as part of the September 2023 special. And I love that these all have thin cuts. They're awesome titles. And I think I'm going to be using these on quite a few scrapbook pages, especially the You Go Girl. And there are things that I took pictures of like every day. I took pictures of my activity and things like that every day, but a lot of times those got cut out. I took pictures of like what I was listening to, what I was watching, and those didn't always make it in. Those were kind of the first things to get cut if I didn't have enough room. So here we are with the last layout. This is Sunday, and I couldn't help myself. I fit in a whole bunch more of those 4x10s. So this time what I did was I staggered them because I had 4 of them. So I did aligned it to the top on this side, and then aligned this one to the bottom, this one to the top, this one to the bottom. And then I just alternated with little like 2x2 squares, and they're slightly smaller. They're 1 7/8 by 1 7/8 squares, both pattern paper and little photos. So I printed out some photos at 2x2, then just trim them down to fit. Over here I have some more embellishing with the stamps, and then also those dots. And my theme for this day, the color theme was blue. I think originally maybe I had planned for it to be the red day, and that got switched. I can't remember, but anyways, it still works out. She was wearing blue pants, red shirt. It all works out. And then her beautiful little princess dress. I love this photo. So cute. Oh, that little smile gets me every time. And then same thing here. I have my pieces going off across actually 3 different sections. And this is another one of those Heidi Swap resist words. For some reason, the Sapphire ink like dyed the white. This should have been a little bit more white. It could just be that these are they're getting old and they're not working as well as they used to. But I have more stamping there, more little photos. So I would love to hear from you guys, your thoughts on doing faux pocket pages. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've done Week in the Life, what has worked for you, maybe what hasn't worked for you, if you're interested in doing this project. And also make sure you check out this video here. Watch how I did my previous Week in the Life project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.